Hello, everyone. Um, Today, we are going to talk about cloud adoption in banking, pitfalls to avoid. My name is Rajat Krishnan, and I have Rafael and Arun with me here. So, Rafael, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Rafael TJ, Director of Strategy, Pix Dynamics. Thank you.
Go ahead, Arun. Thank you,
Yeah,
Rafael.
myself, the head of strategy for Pix Dynamics. Thank you, Rajit.
All right. So, we're going to talk about uh, the pitfalls in cloud adoption in banking. So I have a few slides prepared. I'm going to bring up the slides and then we'll kind of go over it and kind of have a fireside chat kind of format. So if you
Okay.
have any questions, please do post it in the chat, and then at the end of it, we will go over it. So we also have our team members monitoring the chat as well, so they will also post answers. So, Arun, please give us an
Yeah,
idea about Pix Dynamics.
sure. So basically, Pix Dynamics, we are a startup company basically focused on AI-based solutions. That's a very short definition of what we are offering, and our solutions are mainly for digital world. I mean, digital customer or a digital transformation for the BFSI sector, particularly focused on AI-based solutions.
Awesome. And where are you located, and where are you offering these services?
We are located at Cochin. Our headquarters is in Cochin, and we are a part of a startup, even in InfoPark Cochin. So, and our focused or services are majorly focused on the banking and financial services sector.
Awesome. So let's talk about the current status of cloud adoption. So I know Rafael and we spoke about this before. So based on that I prepared a few bullet points. So Rafael, based on your experience, can you give us the current state of cloud adoption in the banks and the challenges?
Yeah, I think so. We are witnessing how cloud technology is transforming the businesses and societies. As far as the banking is concerned, in 2015, Reserve Bank of India, the regulator, came out with a white paper how to go about what are the security points to be covered in the cloud strategy. So based on that, banks started their work on cloud strategy. In fact, I remember preparing a board note in 2019-20, the adoption of cloud adoption strategy in the bank way forward. So that is how we started. And depending upon the appetite for the newness of the new technologies, banks have started moving to cloud, whether it is hybrid or private cloud, and especially in the SaaS model. So that has already started. But the availability of cloud options, uh, banks are exploring hybrid, private, and even multi cloud options. That is there. So, but the second point, that the challenges, that is where I would like to focus. The challenges faced by the banks. When I say the challenges, the point that comes to my mind is the one hill climbing algorithm, which is known to most of the people who are listening to our webinar. There is a saying that uh, hill climbing algorithm is like climbing Mount Everest in thick fog with amnesia. So everybody wants to climb Mount Everest, but there is thick fog. There is a question about the visibility of the cost, visibility of the regulators, compliance and security standards. There is this issue of visibility. And why I'm saying with amnesia, the number of technical people who are there to drive this, especially the cloud architects. If you see the banks, there are 12 public sector banks, 22 private sector banks. If you see the number of people sufficiently senior to guide this, it's limited. I seriously doubt whether there are cloud architects in many of the banks. So, and even if there are people, when they move from one bank to the other bank, it is complete amnesia. It is a different platform. There's a question of platform lock-in. There's a question of data lock-in. There's a question of tools lock-in, specific to those kind of platforms. So these are the kind of challenges. The first challenge, we just mentioned here, lack of skills. It is it's a phenomenon that is being faced by most of the banks. That is what I understand. When I talk to stakeholders also, I'm getting this kind of response. Then, of course, the concerns on security, which RBI has addressed to a certain extent by way of this white paper, and even RBI has, even the regulator has given the what do you call, the areas where this can be introduced, like the common services, which is applicable to the corporate offices like HR, legal, CRM, the customer facing applications, mobile banking, branch banking, internet banking. So it has given some 10-12 areas where this kind of application, which can be moved to cloud, basically. Then concern and cost overrun. When I mention cost overrun, in a bank, a CBS kind of a solution, it takes 4 to 5 years to stabilize. Implementation plus stabilization, the firewalls and the security things which we build around it. It takes 4 to 5 years. But cloud adoption mostly comes with a time frame of when you quote for a period of 3 years. And beyond that, there is visibility. It is like I mentioned the thick fog. So beyond that visibility, how long it will take to stabilize after it is implemented, that is still a question mark. That is a challenge in the banking. Then the ownership cloud infra. Once it is moved to the cloud, who is the owner? Of course, there is an owner, we can say, but strictly speaking, when it comes to audit requirements, banks are forced to ask the cloud service provider to give get some answers. So there is an ownership challenge there. Of course, it can be mitigated with the strong SLAs and all that is there, but there is a challenge there. Then data residency. This is, of course, we can't say anything more about that because it's a regulator's compulsion that the data should reside within India, within the geography. Then, of course, the standards, compliance, and regulations, which I mentioned in total. Regulator as the key role. They ask, within 24 hours, 48 hours, you should give a reply to this particular audit comments. It takes time for us to reply. These are the challenges which I have seen. I think the cloud service providers, like Cloud Control, who has got multiple exposure to the cloud, you should be able to give a better answer to these kind of challenges. Then banks will be able to move forward and climb Mount Everest, with the kind of ease with which we are supposed to go. That is what I want to summarize like that.
Right, thank you. And that was a good explanation of things going on there. So we talked about the lack of skills, right? So India is the place where a lot of the world is sending the work, and we have so many IT resources there, or IT skilled resources there. So do you think it's still a problem for banks to hire skilled cloud engineers in India?
No, I think even banks are still struggling to get the real sufficiently senior cloud architects. Many of them are still struggling to get this. That is my understanding when I talk to some of the stakeholders. That is my understanding, because that is where the question of the platform lock-in and data lock-in and the tools lock-in come in, because they may be experts in one platform. When they come to the next platform, and they are completely unaware of what is happening there, they will have to relearn. So as far as the bank is concerned, technology requirements are going 10x kind of a situation. So whether banks have got the capacity to recruit people and to this kind of extra people to learn, unlearn, and relearn according to the requirements may not be the correct way forward. Rather than that, people like you, who have got experts in cloud technology can answer this particular aspect better. That's what I believe. I don't know. Bankers, the present bankers have to answer this question, but I think there is a challenge as far as skills, lack of skills. That's point is still valid.
So we are all, you have, and I think based on what we have seen, we are seeing skill issues as well. So that's one of the reasons why we have for cloud control. We offer automation services and migration services for banking and other sectors. And that problem is there everywhere. When I look at, say, the US market, the Europe market, people are struggling to get the right cloud engineers because it's a new technology. And there are so many regulations and standards and compliance that you need to go with, right? So having an enterprise experience with the cloud migration experience and management experience is tough to find engineers with that skill set, right? So so what we did is we automated a lot of things. So including migration, we automated it so that you can train your existing engineers to migrate and manage the applications in the cloud. Now, you talked about a cost overrun, right? That's one of the, I think it's a key thing that we are seeing when cloud is pay as you go, but when you go to cloud without actually designing for cloud, and I'm talking about it later again in another slide. When you go to cloud, you need to design for cloud.
Yes.
There is always a desire, as you said, hey, I want to climb that Mount Everest, but how do you get there? You need to do a lot of prep work. You cannot one day wake up and say, I'm going to go to Everest, right? And climb Everest. It's not going to work. So what we have seen is, if you design for it, it works. So you have to prepare yourself, figure out, how others have done it. Learn case
This
studies.
is more particularly applicable to legacy, application where that application modernization journey is involved.
Right.
So that is where it is going to create problems for the banks.
All right. And data residency, of course, is a serious thing that we have seen everywhere because every country now wants to make sure that their data stays within the country. And choosing the right tools and partners and the cloud provider is very important to make sure that the data stays within the boundaries of the country. All right, so let's move on to the next slide. Benefits for banks, right? So in a nutshell, I put together some of the things that we talked about, when it comes to going from the private infrastructure, which is limited in capacity, to a pay-as-you-go model. So, Rafael, can you add your insight into this?
No, definitely faster development and faster deployment and the scalability and the resilience. These are things which cloud can offer much better than and even to a certain extent security also. But as you said, it is to be designed. The architecture level, how it is being designed makes a lot of difference. That is where we face all these challenges.
Right, and so when we look at our current implementations of in the banking sector, for example, and in other sectors, it's true as well, right? See, the amount of computing power the cloud brings is it's a lot in terms of when you want to innovate something, you want to try something, you can just bring up the infrastructure, test it out, and shut it down, right? Now again, that is a new operating model. So you have to design for it. You need to be prepared. You have to have the right tools to do it. So when it comes to analytics, you now get better analytical tools and also data processing power. And I'm sure Arun, you can add something because you are in the AI ML space. The idea of bringing AI and ML, it needs a lot of computing power. So please go ahead if you have any points to add there.
Yeah, definitely. And the cloud adoption, as initial discussions you were discussing, it is the rather than a desire, it is the design which makes the sense. And with respect to that, like the benefits for the banks can be into the trying into new things or new solutions, new service providers with a limited access into the server. I mean infrastructure, rather than setting it in their premises, physical servers and all, which is again cost consuming, and what we don't know the output of that. So there are a lot of facilities over the cloud where we can try out, we can or trial run, and we can understand the different scenarios. Even then, we can make it internally as well.
Awesome.
So
And yeah, go ahead, Rafael.
yeah, into the AI ML, I believe just a point more. Definitely, see, it is the data with the banks data which is to be secured. So with this data, definitely we have the capacity to. I mean the companies like into the AI segment, and they have the capacities to analyze the data and give the results for the banks. Which anyway, it will be something beneficial for the end user like banks.
Good. And so the resilience is one other thing, right? So, multi-region and multi-cloud. So you can have data centers or applications spread across data centers, and it can be allocated and on the fly. So, Rafael, you want to add the resilience part? What kind of benefits a bank would get?
Yeah, the word itself, multi-cloud, that itself, gives a lot of confidence to the banks. So suppose you need a sudden volume increase or sudden UAT requirements. You can come and immediately address to such issues. That resilience, which you mentioned, it is already built in there to take care of the extra requirements. Definitely.
Right. And you also touched earlier, right? Vendor lock-in. So when you're using a multi-cloud approach,
Yeah.
you also get out of that vendor lock-in to some extent. Again, you have to design for it.
Yes.
That is important. So I think you also touched that, and
Yes. Yes.
designing for multi-cloud is important to avoid the vendor lock-in.
Yeah.
All right. So let's moving on to next slide. Now, avoiding the pitfall. So I'll start with this. This is based on our current implementations. This is what we recommend to our customers. So I put together some points. So one important thing is, I know Rafael, you mentioned earlier cost overrun. So
The
one of the things
visibility
that,
part. Yeah.
yeah, go
The
ahead.
cost visibility part. The
Yeah.
visibility part,
Visibility, yeah, that's right. So, in order to avoid cost overruns, one of the things you can do is to leverage auto scale up and scale down. So, cloud has the benefit because it's completely software defined and API driven. You can design your applications and the infrastructure, using APIs. And in the
Yes.
industry, it's also called infrastructure as code. So you can use the infrastructure as code to bring up resources as you need, or VMs or compute power as you need, and bring it down when you don't need it. So that is important. So and again, you have to use the right tools. Now, another important technology that is available today is the container technology. So if you look at 90s and the last decade, mostly it was VMs, virtual machines. Now we are moving to containers. Containers are lightweight. Lightweight means it's lower cost of ownership. Then we have some security things that you need to follow. That is, security best practices that you need to follow. Number one, use least privileged access model. That means because unlike your on-prem private infrastructure where you have some perimeter security, physical security, here everything is running in the public cloud with software-defined security policies. So you want to make sure that when you allocate a resource, do not give access to your sysadmins and others by default. Instead, allocate access or provision access as needed. And connected to that is break glass access. Let's say system administrators want to get access to the infrastructure. Give them access as needed based on a workflow. Like for example, if somebody wants to go into a VM to fix something, let them fill in a form, push a button, then the manager approves it, then they do an MFA, a multi-factor authentication, before they can get access. Once you get access, uh, limit the amount of time they spend um, uh,
Yes.
using it by minutes or hours, and automatically log them out and remove the access. So now another important thing is investing in observability. So when it comes to cloud resources, they are very fluid. That means resources are allocated and deallocated, scaled up and scaled down. So you want to make sure that you invest in observability when it comes to auditors, compliance, troubleshooting. You want all the data collected in a central place. So that means your performance data, what resource was running where, how much was consumed, what logs were written by applications, who logged in, who logged out, what actions were taken, any application logs, all of them need to be collected and saved in a central place where developers and operations and help desk can access for troubleshooting and audit purposes. So that is an important point. And a lot of the challenges that I've seen is, when people invest in cloud, they don't look at observability. When they don't have observability, they won't be able to follow the previous two items, least privilege and break glass. Because if there is no observability, somebody will have to go into the infrastructure and look for things. That is not a good idea. So always make sure that you have sufficient observability in place before, as you go and as you start consuming cloud. Integrating alert management. Because it's completely software defined, policies can change. Somebody can accidentally make a change. Maybe some bad actors can get in and make changes. So you want to make sure that you're constantly watching it. There are tons of tools in the market that does that very well. And cloud providers also pretty much do a good job in getting you the kind of alerting that you need. So make sure that use those services, configure those services properly, and make sure that you test the alerting system completely, so that when something goes bad, you will know. You don't have to keep looking for it. So, and develop a security first mindset, which means your entire team, including anybody who has access to the cloud infrastructure, they should all have a security mindset. You should train your team on the newer technology, best practices, make sure that everyone is using multi-factor authentication, and uh, as they're working on daily day-to-day operations, ensure that they're following those, and also make sure that as the technology changes, you train them to make sure that the security policies are set properly and the guidelines are followed as they're operating on it. The last one is, I think we touched on it multiple times. Desire to go to cloud is always good, but make sure that you design for the optimized cloud. Otherwise, costs can go up, security loopholes can be opened, and bad things can happen. So make sure that you don't hurry into things. Make sure that you plan it, use the right partner, use the right tools, and also follow best practices. So Rafael, you want to add?
Yeah, definitely. I've seen the other day one paper news that all banks are asking the regulator to come out with this the standards, so that they are 100% sure that they are going in the right path. So that will add the value. Just as in the case of, as I mentioned, PCI DSS standards, it is fixed and it is internationally accepted. The norms are there. Likewise, for cloud adoption, there should be fixed norms prescribed by the regulator that will make things easy. That's what I believe.
Good.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Arun.
Yeah, I do have a question, Rajat. Actually, definitely we have pointed on the desire versus design point. So, is there any inputs into the design when a new bank or new entity gets into a cloud adoption? Definitely, the desire will be there, but on the design part, any basic inputs on that?
Yes. So what we have seen, and Rafael, you can go after me. So what we have seen is, there are best practices. So, for example, if you use any of the AWS, the primary providers are AWS, Google, and Microsoft. They all have real good documentation on best practices that you need to follow on types of use cases, right? So if it's a web application, hey, here are the things to follow. If it's a data analytical tool, here are the things to follow. And also they have managed services. So, for example, when you want to use orchestrated containers, every one of those cloud providers have managed services. That means they have a system that actually given your containers, they will manage it for you. That is much more secure than you managing it yourself. So look at managed services, best practices, and white papers, and also security tools that you can bring in. So there are third-party tools that you can bring in. For example, let's say you're using VPN. There are tons of VPN tools out there. When you're using when there is firewalls, there is the cloud providers provide firewall tools, but you can also look for third parties. So find the right one that fits your need, and make sure that you test it out, configure it properly, and put the observability and alerting in place so that when some configuration changes, you will know. Rafael, go ahead. You want to add to that?
Yeah, that covers almost everything. For designing. Once the designing is the most important thing. There is no doubt about that. No, you covered almost everything.
All right. So let's move on to the next set of slides. So the next part we are going to cover, we're going to take a few minutes to kind of deep dive into Pix Dynamics. So Arun, please give us an introduction about Pix Dynamics again. I know we did it earlier. So let's go a little bit deeper.
Okay. So very simply, like as I said, we are a company focused on AI-based solutions, and we just call innovative software company, expertise into the AI and ML. Definitely AI, I would say. So our primary focus of areas were into the digital customer onboarding and verifications, intelligent document processing, workflow automation, and definitely being into the banking or BFSI sector, KYC and compliance is area where like we offer supports for our clients. So basically, we try to transform or support our clients to transform their workflow to enhance and improve their accuracy. That's an area where currently we are focused into.
Right. So and when it comes to products, right? I know you have multiple offerings, right? So can you give us an idea about the different products that you offer?
Yeah,
And
definitely.
services, of course. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I think if you can move into the next slide, definitely I'll give a glance on the products as well. Yeah, I'll also brief into our journey. Like we started in 2018, and we as a startup company in Kerala, Cochin, we are located. And through our journeys, as I defined in the slide also, we started with the 6 employees, and currently we are about 50, near to 50 professional working, and almost 13 plus clients you have serving, and majority of the clients are into the major banks and NBFCs where over here in this region.
All right.
So I'm just touching to that slide and into the solutions and products. As I said, like we have onboarding solutions where we have a video KYC, which is a complete onboarding solution for customer verification and onboarding a customer with proper documentation and verifications. We have different modules into that. Again, intelligent document processing. So this is again a hard point for every customers, which improves their rises their operational cost. So where manual efforts are more and there are more chances of human errors and all. So this is where more AI technology is benefited, where we support our clients with OCR solutions, extracting of data from the documents, bring out the contents and verify the documents, because these are all manual activities which happens with multiple persons. A lot of queue will be there processing for a lot of documents, and classify the data, extracting the data, verification. These are the more areas where the intelligent document processing works into. So the one of the highlights I can say with respect to this is it is not we are limited to any specific documents. It is well customizable, and that is the area where we also focus to address a pain point of a customer rather than a solution to put before. We try to understand the customer's pain point and put it before them. And
Got
to add, yeah, to add liveliness and face match, that these are all components. Again, it can make a end-to-end application, or it can be an independent application serving their pain points.
Thanks. And during the COVID, did you see a demand for, I mean, when it comes to video KYC, a lot of banks started implementing video KYC during the COVID. So did you also see that boom during that time?
Yeah, definitely. Yes, I can say like the product was somewhere cooking before that into the because if you look into the banks, I mean RBI's approval and all, it happened before the COVID season, but it got a boost because when we have a pain, then only this COVID made the pain for this banks or BFSI sector to address to the customers. So that definitely gave a boost. When there was a demand or need from the clients to somehow get into the customers, because that is their bread and butter, and definitely that boost was there.
All right. And Rafael, you want to add anything to this or any questions?
No, if you ask me that the video KYC should be made mandatory according to me for liveness check and all, for even for DBT customers, direct benefit transfer, which central government is doing. So there is, according to me, there is a lot of scope for this particular product, video KYC product, and which should be made applicable to all industries. Compulsory, just as I mentioned in the case of DBT. Even there are allegations that even dead people are getting pension and all. This comes handy for any industry. So it should be made compulsory, if you ask me. That is my thought. I don't know whether government will allow that, but it's a beautiful product, where everything is possible. Even the location, the liveness, everything is checked. There is nothing more than this, that you are seeing a person live. So nothing more than this, according to me.
Good, good. So Arun did share a video with me, so I'm going to play that. So Arun, can I do that now?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let me play that.
Pixel.ai. Experience the benefits of powerful AI. Assisted and non-assisted video KYC. Pixel offers a simple, ready-to-use video KYC models dedicated to your needs. Assisted video KYC verification. A registered official from the business conducts KYC and assists the customer with completing the KYC check. Non-assisted video KYC verification. The customer completes the KYC verification process independently. This is how Pixel's non-assisted video KYC works. Non-assisted video KYC sessions gather the registered name, email address, and mobile number. The system authenticates the customer by the OTP verification, and check, location, camera, and microphone are enabled. The process is initiated by uploading the documents. OCR system will capture the documents real-time by following some instructions to complete the process. Various levels of liveness checking have been done, including face liveness checking, OTP verification by voice checking. The Pixel OCR system will automatically extract the results from the captured documents and display them in real time on the screen below. It's done. Video KYC completed successfully. Pixel.ai.
Awesome. So let's talk about the benefits of this platform, right? So I know we have a slide for that. So go ahead, Arun.
Yeah, okay. The best part is like, as Mr. Rafael sir was telling, it addresses to the current needs, and I can also say it is well customizable. So basically, how I need a solution, I can bring it according to me. Or if you require registry needs it in a different workflow, definitely it can be according to your workflow. So it is well customizable, and definitely it addresses to the specific needs as per the compliance requirement for the sector. There are compliance requirements or regulatory guidelines for banks as per the RBI. Definitely it is adhered to that, and beyond that, it adds more value and features, which definitely it's a customer point, how we can put more value to the solutions. So the best benefit I can say from the product side, that eliminates, or I don't say eliminate, it reduces the cost of the banks to multiple times down, because the operational cost can be very much reduced when compared to the other normal conventional way of customer onboarding and verification, which is a two-way process which happens, and the TAT for that will be also more. So basically, even for a bank or an entity, the TAT is something very, very crucial. The very, very minimum the TAT, the best outcome or the best benefit they are reaping out of it. So that is the solution. Very simply, I can say the benefit which offers from the video KYC, and our other solutions also. It is reducing the TAT, all the solutions which I refer to.
Good, good. And Rafael, you want to add anything to the benefits of a KYC and specifically this platform?
Yeah, this is scalable, customizable, and and now IRDA has come out with the guidelines that it is applicable for insurance companies. So I think this should be applicable to all industries, all key industries. Wherever KYC requirements are there, it takes care. And the other one, intelligent data processing, is and all for reducing the human effort, the manual effort, so that we are trying to work on it, so that that is reduced. That's what he was mentioning.
All right. So let's jump on to some questions and answers. I do have some questions again. So when it comes to the AI-based solutions like video KYC, Arun, I know you chose to deploy it in Kubernetes. And I know without from a non-technical side, what are the benefits you're seeing? Why did you choose Kubernetes as again, just for everyone's sake? Kubernetes is a container orchestration platform that's available in all cloud providers. So, the Pix Dynamic solution is using that. So please give us an idea about why you chose that.
Yeah, definitely. I would put, like, as you said, not technical. I'll be placing only the non-technical area. See, basically into the business, it is the savings or the cost reduction. Even in that point, I can say. So into the savings side, even if it is hosted in our cloud infrastructure or the bank's premises, as a provider or a vendor for a bank or an entity, I needs to make our solution that much compatible for them, or even I should not keep an infrastructure big for them because they are paying for it. So it is something savings on the infra for whoever it is managing, and even for the I would say the personal savings on the person, because the resources, the effort on the resources is also reduced, because the deployment, the DevOps as well as the deployment, the operations, it is together managed over there. So the developers has a lot benefits, can save a lot of time, just keeping their brain or their focus only on the development rather than getting into the other deployment side issues and all. So that is something which we also focused initially when we targeted on the Kubernetes. And the other part is definitely scalability of the application, because it is something which we focus on not for today, definitely for tomorrow. So and the volumes is something which we cannot expect. It can be different scenario for different clients. So Kubernetes definitely offers a vertical as well as horizontal scalability. That again is a point where we considered to be on the priority list.
Thanks. I think you touched on a lot of key elements there, right? We are seeing the same thing too, right? Number one, cost reduction, optimal use of compute resources using containers, and Kubernetes does a good job with that. Number two, I think it's the multi-cloud aspect of it. You don't have to stick with one provider or on-prem or cloud. Kubernetes works across the board. So that's another. When it comes to saving time for developers as well as operations, that's the key as well. So thanks for that answer. So Rafael, you want to add anything to containers and why we should adopt containers?
The word optimization takes care of everything, according to me.
Right. That's so true. That's so true, because Kubernetes. That's if you look at Google, the reason why Google invented it, and now a large community from a technical side. Linux is the largest open source project out there. We all know that. Kubernetes is number two. There is a reason for it, because it makes life much easier when it comes to development, operations, efficiency, and or more than all that, multi-cloud capability, right? So when I know we touched about it earlier, vendor lock-in is a challenge, and banks and
Yes.
any institution, they're all concerned about the vendor lock-in. Kubernetes makes it easy for you to move from one cloud to another, or deploy in multiple cloud at the same time.
Exactly.
All right. So, so any challenges that you ran into or I'm sure you must have heard something from your technology team. Did they run into any challenges, any lessons learned as they were migrating or using Kubernetes?
The challenges, I would say definitely the lack of expertise which we came in between in our earlier point of discussions. So to identify the right candidate or the right person who is, because as a layman, I don't know I'm not someone who to evaluate the capability of a person. So that is something very challenging to get the right candidate out of it who fits into the industry as well as our requirement.
That is, we are seeing that as well. So I'm sure that's why we are partnering. So we are partnered with Pixel in terms of rolling the solution out to to their customers. So we automate a lot of the Kubernetes pain points, and we have multiple installations that we manage today using our platform. So now we do have some questions. So before we go there, Rafael, you wanted to add anything? I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, no, we'll go to the Q&A session.
Okay, good. So I have a question from Mary. So when it comes to cloud, so getting in is easy, but exiting is huge. There's a lot of cost involved because again, it's touching on the multi-cloud aspect, right? So data backup and data migration. So how can we kind of mitigate that risk of vendor lock-in and large huge cost overruns? So my answer would be multi-cloud. So you want to make sure that you design for multi-cloud and use a container orchestration platform so that you have the capability to choose the right cloud provider for your need so that you can optimize your costs. So Rafael, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, she's mentioning about the lock-in kind of a situation that you've addressed. So that gives the answer, I think. So at the designing level itself, it is addressed and there is no issue. You can move ahead and exit from one platform.
Right. Thanks, Mary, for that question. So let's move on to the next question. This is also, I think, a bit technical. Let me see. So here we are talking about multi-factor authentication. The cloud providers provide an option to do that, but Uma, I think when it comes to implementing it, we have seen, and I have to say, most of our customers today use third-party MFA solutions. In fact, we even have a customer that provides services that are enabling MFA. So you can always look for external MFA. It's all API driven. And it uses industry standards like OAuth and leverages that to get to MFA. So always look for external APIs, and there are tons of them available out there. Let's go to next question. Now, when it comes to, so we have a question from Abhinav, right? So as we are rolling out, say, video KYC, what are the risks associated with, and how what are the things that you have seen as you're rolling out? What are the things that you need to keep in mind, and how Pixel solution is actually solving those? Arun, you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. Basically, definitely there are risk issues into that. Definitely, as we in the discussion we were discussing for the banks, there are certain guidelines or regulations which said what all parameters, what all features should be there in the video KYC as per RBI. So that is something definitely they have taken a step ahead to make sure the risks are reduced. And still, definitely on the process also there are risks or frauds coming in, but the application is intelligent one. There are different checkpoints which can make sure the customer is real with liveliness checks and all. We verify the data. KYCs is being verified. So phase match, it is being checked over there with respect to the KYCs. So it is not that easy that frauds can get into that, because there are different scenarios which comes or plays before the customer before getting into or completing a video KYC.
Great. And I have another question here. Thanks, Abhinav. So let's move on to Avinash's question. So the solution that we are talking about here, it's installed at customers' infrastructure, right? It's not a SaaS solution, is it?
Yeah, see, basically video KYC mostly it is on the customer's infrastructure, but the solutions like intelligent document processing or OCR components, definitely we expose is that an SaaS model to the customers.
All right.
Again, it is well customizable according to the requirement, I can say, because for the banks and all, definitely they will be preferring to a completely on-prem, whether it is cloud or physical servers. But as small party, even I can see now customers coming for cab drivers getting into a video KYC because to verify their customers, cab drivers and all. So there, I don't think there are much regulations with respect to the server space and all. So that can be SaaS as well.
Awesome. Thank you. And thanks, Avinash, for that question. So now if somebody has to reach, how do they reach you and learn more about the platform and the solutions?
Yeah, it's you can connect over the pixel.ai website and the solutions over there, and you can connect over there as well.
Awesome. Again, I think we don't have any other questions here. So anything else you want to add, Arun, or please go ahead. Let's kind of conclude today. So Arun, I'll let you go first, and then I'll have Rafael say the last words. Go ahead.
Sure. This was a good session, definitely. Rather than introducing ourselves, like getting into the adoption benefits for banks. And I would say, since banks are mostly into the compliance or regulators, the other sectors apart from the banks, it will be more easy and convenient because there are no more like of restrictions when compared to the banks. This was a good section. In fact, learning from the real person who was there in the bank side as well as the other side, someone who is into the cloud services as well. So for me, it was learning from both the sides.
Thanks, Arun. So Rafael, go ahead.
Thank you, Ranjit. As RBI has mentioned in their working group suggestions, more research is to be done on cloud governance and cloud management and all. So I'm sure this kind of interactions will help people to understand, what are the possibilities available here, what are the challenges, and what are the solutions from your side. So they will get a broad view of what is happening in the entire cloud strategy. So I think it is beneficial for the people who are watching it. That is our ultimate aim, I think. So we have succeeded to a certain level. That's what I believe. Let us hope there is good response from those who attended this and those who are going to watch it. They will get some benefit out of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Rafael. Thanks, Arun. And thanks, everyone, for joining. Please use our website to contact us. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them. Thank you very much, everyone.